All right, back for another INITVERSE talk show. Today, we have Jacques with us, who is the head of BD at Limitless, and also Addy, who's our technical advisor at INITVERSE. He's going to sit in
Hi,
with us
everyone.
today and might ask a couple follow-up questions today, if that's all right with you, Jacques. So we appreciate you taking the time to be here today.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be to talk about Limitless.
Cool. Same.
Absolutely. Yeah, so and thanks, Addy, as well, for you showing up today as well.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, Bryer and Jacques.
So just to lead off today, I always like to ask a little bit before we dive deep into Limitless, how people got started in crypto, and like what your technology crypto origin story is. So, Jax, if you want to like tell us a little bit about that, if you don't mind to lead off here.
Yeah, for sure. So I always joke with people that I got started in crypto, more specifically Bitcoin, through beer and pizza. So I was back in 2013, I was a very broke college kid, studying in New York City. And right next to the new NYU Stern, which is the business school, that I was taking classes in, there was the NASDAQ, right? The New York Stock Exchange. And next to the New York Stock Exchange, there was a small little Bitcoin center that was there. That's no longer, unfortunately. And one of the days I was, as a broke college kid walking around in a downtown, I saw a little sign outside of that Bitcoin center that said Bitcoin Talk, free beer and pizza. So, that caught my attention. Went in, sat in, hear the speakers talk about Bitcoin. At that time, like I think I wasn't so much like I didn't really understand the technology behind it. I think most people like still had a hard time understanding technology behind it. But I understood that this would be a new mechanism and system that allows for global transactions, right? Permissionless transactions. And that was very interesting to me because at that time I was studying to be studying entrepreneurship, studying at the business school. And for me, that was like a amazing tool that allows for entrepreneurs all around the world to be able to coordinate and build businesses. Obviously, tech companies been around for forever, but in terms of allowing cross-border collaboration, to build these global day one companies that wasn't really, the financing side is still quite difficult. So I saw the potential of Bitcoin becoming a new global financial system right then and there. So that's what got me started with crypto, Bitcoin.
Yeah, very cool. I spent a little bit of time. It's interesting how the NYU campus is broken up across the city. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
cool, that's cool. That's a cool story. Appreciate that. So let's get into Limitless a little bit here. When did you guys launch? And like, can you just explain a little bit of the core mechanics of the dApp?
yeah, for sure. So we launched in September of 2024, so last year. So it's been about 7 months. The obviously the steam picked up dramatically in those times only in those few months. In terms of the core mechanic of the platform, we are a prediction markets platform. Basically, right now we have two types of markets. So we have AMM markets, which allow anyone to sort of buy and sell prediction shares easily, and we just roll out our central limit order book for deep liquidity that works a lot more like a traditional exchange that requires people to put limit orders on the book and gives a lot more flexibility like traditional exchanges. We are moving away from the AMM model. That's something that, that was great in terms of user experience, but for us, we believe in, central limit order book it's just future direction because the efficiency it allows for the prediction markets. The main collateral on our platform is USDC. And, I guess just as a primer on prediction markets, basically you are able to buy for any events, you are able to buy yes or no shares. So you
Yeah.
buy yes share, you're basically betting on the event will happen. And if you buy no share, you're betting on the event will not happen. And the share prices are ranging from 1 cent to 99 cents. So these are, the price range that, when you purchase a yes share at, let's say, 25 cents, when that eventuality, the resolution happens and the market resolves to yes, you're in essence, you're able to gain 75 cents of profit from that yes, that one share of 25 cent yes share that you bought. if the market resolves to no, that 25 cent will turn into zero. So that's, as a primary of how prediction market works.
I appreciate that explanation. Addy, do you have anything to follow up with there?
No, like the prediction market that becomes some supply and demand, right? So basically, in the current events that happening in the market, it's like narratives. It's driven by narratives that the maybe tariffs or something else. The people vote on yes or no. They move with that. So it's pretty good to engage with everyone on the platform. And can you explain that AMM part, please, little bit in short?
Yeah, for sure. So the AM model just works like any other AMM. So right, it has a
XY is equals to K, like token of A and token of B is constant, right?
exactly. So we just use the same model to basically allow traders to purchase any amount of yes or no shares, and sort of the constant product curve will adapt to that. The price change the price of the yes or the no share that is that's scarce. So just similar to how any other AMM decks that your audience might be familiar with, that's how it works. And the benefit of that is allows for, again, the user experience is quite good
Yeah.
in terms of being able to purchase any amount, given the cost that you're able to stomach the cost of that. But again, we're moving towards central limit order book, and that's again just more efficient in terms of
Yeah.
the market.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, let's move on to the next question. What type of predictions are the most popular right now, I guess, would be one, and like a two-tier question would be are there any type of predictions like what I guess that you guys are shying away from, or I don't know if you want to get into that, but it's something that came into my head here as we're talking.
Yeah, I don't think we're like shying away from anything. I think for us, it's more about focus. Our focus is on, financial, crypto, and tech. So for us, the macro trends right now with the trade war, with the changing political climate, economic climate, that's something that, a lot of people are paying attention to. And actually, it allows, we are rolling out markets that allow people to be able to not only for us to generate useful information for the audience. So like, what are the chances of Trump lifting the tariffs? That's some very useful, valuable information that the broader audience, the broader general public, it's good to know. But also for traders to be able to if you have a position, let's say in any of like the shipping companies or whatever the case may be, you're able to leverage our platform to be able to hedge that bet, as a way to manage your portfolio, for example. So that's something that we're very focused on. We have a lot of markets on S&P 500. The earning reports are coming out soon, so that's a very exciting market that we have. On crypto side, we are all crypto natives in the company, so we're super degen. So we're tracking a lot of crypto projects. We're tracking a lot of DeFi projects, TGE, dates, TGE prices, protocol events, token prices, you name it. And then lastly, we are big tech people after all. So we like to have things like AI markets to see like, oh, which model will be at the top of the LLM arena, or if the let's say SpaceX will successful launch and land a rocket next month, like these are more general tech interests that we're tracking.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like, it's look at these things as just like data about how to figure out the world. I kind of like the way that you just like, you put that there. So it's interesting to think about that. It's not just like a yes or no. Like, what that outcome could have so many different consequences around the world. So it's interesting, just the way it all plays out in that regard, I guess. How do you guys ensure the integrity and security of the predictions?
Yeah. So one of the things that really prevents manipulation is just having deep liquidity. If you have low liquidity, you're able to sway the prices one way or the other. So that's where another benefit of AM that really helps, just because it dynamically adjusts the prices. With Club, it is a little bit trickier, but we are working on, working with market makers to buy the liquidity into our club to make sure that, market manipulation is something that will be very costly, so that's like the economic part of it. And also we work very hard to make sure that the rules of the market is very clear. Obviously, it is one of those things where you hear the term smart contract in the crypto space quite a bit, but when you think about it, really, those are just programs. Like what we're really doing here with these prediction markets are a lot more like traditional contracts, where they are like human language, right? Like for example, I think a while back there was a market that on whether or not the Ukraine war will have a ceasefire, right? And that was like a very interesting, market, very relevant. However, like it came out that Russia agreed to a limited ceasefire or like an energy ceasefire. So like in that scenario, like how do you classify that? Is that considered a ceasefire or not considered ceasefire? So these are the things that we work very hard to like define the rules of the market. Just so again, like people don't, manipulate the rules to try to, flip the market one way or the other. Obviously we have a lot of we spend a lot of time also on vetting the sources of information that we accept for the resolution of markets. We have a great markets team that are, monitoring these markets, monitoring the data sources, making sure that they are great. And we focus only on high signal markets with, broad interest and publicly verifiable data.
I'm kind of curious, as a follow-up there, do you guys run the infinite number of variables through an LLM to make sure that you guys cover like a absolute yes or no? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like in the description or whatever?
Yeah. We definitely do, we have a lot of conversation with ChatGPT, that's for sure. I'm thinking about all the edge cases that could happen. It is just a tool set, right? So we definitely do, spend a lot of time. Um, I can't say too much, but
Okay.
AI, we have a lot of let's say a lot of our core engineers have very strong AI backgrounds.
Fine tuning and everything else.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Addy, say that
And
again.
yeah, the fine tuning of models and the data that you filter out everything. And I love that everything is run by the real world scenarios that is happening in the world. So it's like pretty good.
Yeah. It's again, at the end of the day, though, it's a human language, right? So
Yeah.
and our markets is a tool that our markets teams leverage for sure. But at the end of the day, it is the markets team that is the backbone of our market rules and resolution.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be interesting to watch this entire space evolve, as far as prediction markets go. We're interested in that. So, yeah, I guess if you did have a dispute, can you get into like how you guys would handle a disagreement? I don't know how often that happens, or if you can touch on that just briefly.
It does happen. I think, it's just the nature of being in the space. So one of the biggest preventative measures is just having the clear rules, like I mentioned. So like we spend a lot of our time. I would say like in terms of the time we spent with these markets, 95% of it is, just creating the rules. That's like there's a reason for that, because when we spend that 95% on the rule creation, that 5% or even less, most actually much less of the time, like maybe 2 or 3% of the time where there is an issue, that then we will again work with our markets team to find the edge cases. We review like, we have backup data sources, we have Oracle solution that we use. But, again, these are very, very edge cases, then they don't come out quite often. The important thing is that we get the rules right in the first try.
Yeah.
Addy, did you
Yeah,
have
like you need to prepare for any worst case scenario possible.
Yeah.
So you need to prepare for that. Yeah.
Speaking of preparation for worst case scenarios, oracles is a good place to go from there. What sort of like middleware or how do oracles play a role in prediction markets?
Yeah, so oracles play a huge role in prediction market, especially, our goal is to build the fastest prediction market there is. So we work with a lot of great partners, PIF being the main partner that we're working with, leveraging their Oracle solutions. So that, that with that partner, it allows us to resolve the market very quickly, specifically for markets that have very deterministic outcomes, right? Will the price of Bitcoin be above or below 100K at this time at this hour, right? So that's something that is very, deterministic in a sense. And, once we get the data from the Oracle, we could resolve that market right away. Now, but that only still covers a small fraction, not a small fraction, but a fraction of all the markets that we cover. Because again, the more interesting markets are the ones where the rules, like the language of the market is a little bit more ambiguous. There is a little bit more room for interpretation. But Oracle is definitely like a key part of our data integrity approach.
Yeah, I mean, you guys launched how many months ago? Did you say 8 months ago?
So September of last year, so that would be 7, 8 months, yeah.
7 or 8 months ago. And AnyChain is the second chain you guys have been on, so launched a contract on. How does what are you guys looking at to attract new users and retain those users?
Yeah, so we're still on base. That's base is our foundation. We have
Mhm.
great partners, in the base ecosystem. In terms of attracting new users, we try to track traders and analysts that need a lot of financial crypto text signals. So this is the audience that we know well and we know how to serve well. We try to group a network effect. So a lot of our partners are from the same network, and we try to be very active on Twitter. I try to be very active. Both in public appearances and also on Twitter. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter, give me a follow. And yeah.
Sure.
Excellent. You want to drop your Twitter handle here?
You can
Yeah,
drop.
so JACQUES, WHALES.
Yeah, and the Limitless Twitter. What is the Limitless Twitter handle?
Yeah, it's at try limitless.
Okay. Uh, Excellent. You talked a little bit about liquidity, but could you go a little bit further into it if possible?
Yeah, for sure. So again, with liquidity, it's important to have deep liquidity and enable a good trading experience. That's one of the
Yeah.
first and most important thing when it comes to any kind of markets where you're able to trade, right? So with AMM, it's automatic adjustment on the price. We're working with professional market makers we have a incentive program for market makers. So actually, if you go to our platform and you're able to close a spread for us on those central limit order markets, you will actually get an incentive reward for closing the gap, closing the spread. So that's how we are incentivizing market makers and boosting liquidity. We also see a lot of arbitragers that trade between similar markets on different prediction platforms. So those actually does bring a lot of value to our platform as well. And of course, we're trying to grow our user base. We're trying to make the platform appealing for a broader audience. So we are try to do a lot of work to bring on organic traders onto our platform.
Very cool. I appreciate you going a little bit further into that. Addy, do you have anything you want to ask regarding the liquidity or anything we've talked about in the last question or two?
Yeah, so for the smooth experience, the liquidity matters the most. If you talk about anything else, like liquidity matters the most in the any scenario. So yeah, it's pretty good to see that they have a specified mechanism for everything to deal with. Yeah.
And to talk about fees just a little bit,
Yeah.
the spread. I don't know exactly how the fees work. If you want to just talk about fees a little bit more and the idea there.
Yeah, for sure. So right now we don't have any fees. So that's a very simple, straightforward question. We focus on growth. We focus on user acquisition. So the cost is only associated with the base networking fee. So the net gas fee on base. So basically, it's negligible.
Zero.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
essentially. So yeah, there's not much to say beyond that.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, that's nobody can
Yeah.
be disappointed about that, right?
User experience at its best. Yeah, they don't have to care about gas fees at
Exactly.
all.
Yeah, it never fails when you start recording an interview. Somebody comes by cutting grass with a huge weed whacker. So, uh, here, let's talk about like other, what most popular successful prediction markets thus far. Wrapping up here, just a few more questions. Have there been like if you were to say like what the most popular, if there was a genre, or it sounds like politics maybe, just from like talking to you, but like are sports or anything like that very popular right now?
Uh, Again, it's a focus thing. We have a lot of interest for having sports markets. It's something that we do it from time to time. If there is an interesting event that we want to do, or some kind of major whatever. But again, I watch the NBA. I watch. I'm living in Portugal, so football is a huge thing. But it's just not something that we pay too much attention on. So our focus is on the financial market. Our focus is on US equities, European stocks, crypto again. So yeah.
Who's your club?
Like,
Porto? Isn't that Porto
So
FC? Isn't that the Portuguese?
yeah, exactly. Whenever there is a game here, it is a holiday. No one is working. Everyone's out on the street. Everyone's at the bar having a drink, watching a game. I'm honestly, I wasn't a big. I still am not a huge football fan or soccer fan. For the Americans like myself. But you can't avoid it. You basically just have to go with it.
Yeah, that's a football culture is your proper football culture is different, uh,
Exactly.
for
Home
sure.
of Ronaldo, right? So hard to avoid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, we appreciate your time today, and I know you're a busy guy, so we're just gonna like wrap it up here. I'm gonna ask one question. We'll see if Addy has anything to follow up, but I'm curious about like the roadmap, if you can get into that for the rest of 2025 and like what you're looking at moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. So, our goal is to again build the fastest prediction market on the planet. So we're optimizing the speed, we're optimizing for market resolution. We are focusing on our niche again on financial, crypto, and tech. We are working on bringing better trading experience in terms of improving the central limit order book, improving UI UX. We want to build more tools that can give insights to our users. And we want to, make sure that um, we are able to work with the great projects in the space like yourselves to bring these markets online. And we're looking at 1 billion trading volume as our next short-term target. So those are the goals.
One billion is the next target, you said?
Well, like our founder and CEO CJ said, 1 billion is the next gas station. But yeah, that's the next goal.
And you guys have done over 200 million now, right?
230 million, actually. Yeah.
230 million,
it's
right?
pretty close.
Yeah, yeah, not too far away. The next gas station.
Addy, do you have anything you'd like to add here before we wrap up?
No, so till now, what I have like listened till now, I think that this is where the adoption starts. So like the Web3 UX, the deep liquidity and everything, I love it. So personally, with the tech side as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you see a lot of negativity on Twitter and stuff about like people being negative about
Yeah,
things being built, but I'm so optimistic about this space, and I think we're still in such like the early innings of Web3.
yeah,
I think all value is coming on chain eventually, like all real value. So I'm bullish on this entire space, and I appreciate you coming on today, Jax, and I appreciate you being here as well, Addy. Hopefully, we can all three get together and do it again, either in an interview or a Twitter space in the future.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thanks, Jacques. Bye bye.